In a wide green jungle where the trees grew tall and the rivers ran slow, every creature knew its place. The elephants walked where they pleased, heavy and powerful and impossible to ignore. When they moved, the ground felt it. When they spoke, the jungle listened. The ants lived in the soil beneath everything, small and silent and almost invisible. They carried 10 times their weight and asked for nothing in return. Nobody ever thought about what happened between these two worlds. Nobody except Eli. Eli was a young elephant, large even for his kind, with soft gray skin, kind brown eyes, and ears that turned toward every sound the jungle made. He was not loud like the others. He was the kind of elephant who noticed things most elephants walked right over. One afternoon, Eli was standing beside the river, drinking slowly, when he felt something on his foot. He looked down. A tiny ant was pushing against his foot with everything she had. Determined, focused, completely unbothered by the fact that she was pushing against something 10,000 times her size. Eli lifted his foot carefully and looked closer. The ant stopped, looked up at him with tiny bright eyes, then went right back to work, pushing a seed twice her size toward her colony home. Eli watched her for a long time. He had seen strong creatures before. Lions, bulls, other elephants. But he had never seen anything like this. Pure quiet strength with no audience and no reward. Just work because work was needed. He came back to that spot the next day. And the next. The ant, whose name was Mia, noticed the giant shadow that kept appearing at the same time every afternoon. She looked up one day and found 2 enormous kind brown eyes looking down at her with something she could only describe as wonder. She stopped working. He lowered his head until his eyes were as close to her level as he could manage. "You work very hard," he said softly. So softly, like he was afraid his voice would be too big for her. Mia looked at him for a long moment. Then she said, "So you just do not show it." Eli blinked. Nobody had ever said that to him before. He came back every afternoon. Sometimes he would move a large stone that was in the path of her colony. He never said anything about it. He just moved it and stood nearby like nothing had happened. Mia always noticed. She never said anything either, but she started saving the best seeds she found and leaving them at the spot where he always stood. The jungle noticed, and the jungle had opinions. The other elephants shook their heads. The other ants thought Mia had lost her mind. A friendship, or whatever this was, between an elephant and an ant made no sense to anyone watching. But to Eli and Mia it made every sense. Because Eli had never felt seen before. He was large and everyone saw him. But nobody had ever looked at him the way Mia did. Like she was looking past the size and the strength and finding something quieter underneath. And Mia had never felt protected before. Not because she needed saving. She was the strongest creature she knew, size for size. But there is a difference between being strong and being held. And she had never known what being held felt like until a gentle giant started moving stones out of her path without being asked. One evening a heavy rain came. The kind that floods the low ground and threatens everything small that lives in it. Mia's colony was in danger. Eli did not think. He walked to the river's edge and used his body to redirect the water, standing in the rain for hours, not moving, until the flood passed and Mia's home was safe. When the rain stopped, Mia walked out and found him still standing there. Soaked. Exhausted. Saying nothing. She walked to his foot and stood there quietly. That was enough. The world will always tell you that some connections make no sense. That the distance is too great. That the difference is too wide. But love has never once asked for permission from logic. It only asks one question, do you see me? And when two souls answer yes to each other, no distance in the world is wide enough to keep them apart. True connection has nothing to do with size, status, or what the world thinks makes sense. It has everything to do with two souls who see each other clearly and choose each other anyway. The greatest love stories are often the ones nobody expected.